Welcome to FPB's Meet the Candidates. This Cable 10 series allows you, the viewer, the voter, to learn a little bit more about our candidates and the issues that are important to us and how they would deal with the issues that are important to us. This is all leading up to our general election, which is on Tuesday, November 6th. And today's guest is Joe Graviss. He is the Democratic candidate for state representative for Kentucky's 56th district. Welcome.
Thank you. Thanks for doing this.
Sure. I'm glad to have you here. And I want to start out by giving you the opportunity to tell us about yourself and why you have chosen to take this road and have public service be this part of your life.
Great question. Thank you. My wife kind of wondered the same thing, but no, thank you to the plant board and to you for doing this. This is a great service for the community, and I love the plant board and been in this room many times over the years. My name is Joe Graviss, and I'm the former McDonald's owner-operator here in Frankfort and Woodford County and some in Fayette County, and retired last year. And shortly after I retired, James Kay, the current representative for the 56th district, called me and said he was going to run for judge executive and I should consider running for the 56th district. He knew my interest in serving people. I'd served the communities for years through the restaurants. You probably saw Graviss McDonald's signs all over town, and we really loved giving back to the community and helping anybody that asked. And so my wife and I talked about it and prayed about it and felt like that it was a great opportunity to give back in different ways. You know, we didn't have the restaurants to do that anymore, and so this was an opportunity to do that. I've had an interest in public service for a long time, have been very encouraged to stay involved, and so you know, God closes one door and opens up another door, it seems like, in people's lives. Luckily, in my case, the hallway between the doors was not very long. I think my wife would have liked them to have been a little longer, but you know, timing is everything, and feel very blessed to be able to be here and have the opportunity to serve. A little background on me, I think was part of the question. Yeah. Was born in Louisville, moved to Lexington when I was 5 with my parents, went to Sarah School, graduated from Lexington Catholic, was at UK and Transylvania University, where I graduated summa cum laude with a double major and a double minor, business administration and accounting, and then political science and history. Went into public accounting, got my CPA certificate, and then the opportunity to get into the McDonald's business came along, and my wife and I felt like that was a unique opportunity, and we went ahead and went for it. And we were able to grow our organization over the years, and I retired with 9 restaurants, employing about 650 people. Wow.
That's a good business.
It was a lot to say grace over.
Right. Well, let's talk about the 56th district for a minute. What area does that cover?
The 56th district is all of Woodford County. Yeah. There are 4 precincts in Franklin County, yeah. Kind of along Versailles Road, Leestown Road, 421, that corner. And then there's 11 precincts in Fayette County.
Okay. So just for our viewers, explain a little bit about what are the responsibilities of a state representative? What would your responsibilities be to our voters?
Well, obviously, you know, the House represents the people, and that's where the monetary bills start. We obviously need to get a good budget, is the first thing, and then representing the concerns of the district. Obviously, we have a lot of public employees, state employees, retired employees, a lot of teachers, a lot of folks that are very interested in that budget. Okay. And what it means.
There will inevitably be a newcomer to this seat.
Yes.
So what do you think are the advantages of new blood?
Oh, wow. I think fresh ideas and new thinking and energy and ideas are always important. And I know in my business life and in the numerous boards and commissions that I was on, you can go to Joe Graviss for staterep.com and see all my boards and awards over the years. And we always relished younger blood and new blood to come in and challenge thinking and encourage creativity, create new relationships, and try to grow whatever it is we were working on with some new, fresh thoughts and ideas. I think that the status quo is the enemy of so many organizations and governments, and that we've always got to be innovating and thinking out of the box and working together and solving problems in newer, smarter, better ways. And you're not going to do that with the same old, you know.
Yeah.
But you're always going to have some same old, you know, and you want some because of the institutional knowledge. And my hope is that the folks that have been around a long time will be welcoming and encouraging of the new blood and allowing that to be able to have an influence to create some new ideas and new energy and new thinking.
Okay. Well, there's a concern among our viewership that there is a toxic political atmosphere, not only at the national level, but also at our state house here. Do you agree with that?
Absolutely. When I'm out on the campaign trail and I'm speaking with voters, I ask them what would be one word that they would use to describe the atmosphere in Frankfort. And toxic is one of those words that comes up the most often. And that is so counterproductive and unfortunate and wrong. And to me, in my mind, it's like when a married couple is fighting, who loses? The kids.
Sure.
Right?
Sure.
And so when you have Republicans and Democrats fighting, who loses? Kentuckians.
Right.
And I don't think that the voters elect us to go to Frankfort to be toxic and partisan and divisive and selfish and disrespectful. Those are a lot of the words that I hear when I ask them what's one word to describe Frankfort.
Yeah.
They elect us to go there to serve. We're elected to serve the people, and that's what I hope to be able to do, and to break down that divisiveness and that toxicity.
Well, that was my next question is, as a newcomer, what can you do to address that toxicity and try to quell it?
Yeah, you know, all change starts with individuals. And, you know, Gandhi said, you have to be the change that you want to see. And so I hope to be open-minded. You know, I will welcome any good idea. I don't care whose it is. Too many times the party in power won't let good ideas from the other side come up because they don't want them to get credit, and that's wrong. Because who suffers? Kentuckians. And so I hope to be able to walk the talk of being a team player. I played team sports as a kid. McDonald's is definitely a team sport, you know.
Sure.
We didn't care if you were Republican or Democrat. We just cared if you could smile and say, "Can I take your order, please?" You know? And it's the same thing with all the boards and commissions that I was on. Nobody cared if you're Republican or Democrat or rich or poor or white or black or educated or not. We cared about the mission of the organization and accomplishing that mission and working together to do it.
Well, there's a lot of issues facing Kentuckians right now. What do you think is the biggest issue in our district? Let's start in our district first. What do you think is the biggest issue that needs to be addressed in the 56th district?
Well, clearly it's pensions, okay, and tax reform. But we've talked about these issues for a long time, okay? And so I get that there's infrastructure and education and healthcare and prisons and pensions and teachers and retirees and tax reform. Okay, there's a plethora and a myriad of issues that we have been talking about for years and some for decades. And so, we need to address those things. And if you wanted me to rank them, we can do that. But I think pensions right now is near the top. But I think the most important thing to be able to deal with all those things is we've got to have a better process to be able to address those things. Bringing forth a bill and 6 hours later voting on it by stripping another bill of its language and inserting completely different words and purposes and then shoving, that process is wrong. And so the process of not being able to communicate the process of the toxicity and the partisanship and the divisiveness. All of those processes and procedures and those systems and those structures that have evolved over the last few years in Frankfurt, to me, those are the root causes of a lot of the problems that we're talking about that we need to fix. And in my business life and in my boards and commission life, we tried to address the root causes of whatever the symptom that we were seeing. We've got a symptom of a poorly funded pension system.
Yeah.
We got a symptom of teachers not being treated right. We've got a symptom of our tax code being antiquated. What really needs to change to address those things is our process and the way we interact and work together.
Okay. Local governments are being asked to contribute increased amounts of money to the pension system. In fact, this year, our Franklin County Fiscal Court, both of our public school districts, and our city commission is preparing to vote to agree to increase our tax rates. More than likely, again, this is a result of our rising contributions for the pension. What can you do as at the state level to help us address this issue, and what kind of solution do you have for that?
Yeah, it's a great question, and it's really a real world, streetwise question, and you're absolutely right. And first thing from a 56th district perspective is we have to work together to get our house in order in the state, because the dysfunction that we're seeing coming out of Frankfurt is affecting these local governments. And so the 138 members of the General Assembly and the governor and all of those teams around there, they really need to work together better and become more of a well-oiled machine instead of what we've been seeing. Because as the state improves and performs better, that's only going to help our city and county governments. Locally, I want to work with them the best that I can to help increase our revenues. We're not going to tax ourselves out of this problem. We're not going to cut ourselves out of this problem. We're going to have to be very smart and creative and work together to come up with the creative solutions.
Well, that's my next question. What can we do at the state level to generate more revenue so that we can minimize these future tax increases?
Yeah, I really believe that we give away more in tax breaks and loopholes. They call them tax expenditures. Your viewers are going to know exactly what I'm talking about when I say tax expenditures. And that is the special interest and special breaks that different organizations and entities get in our tax code. And we actually give away more than we take in. And so we have to look at the tax expenditures. We give away almost $13 billion in tax expenditures. And I believe that working together, we can come up with $1 billion or so more in smartly tweaking in conjunction with a full package of tax reform that will be utilized properly. I don't mind as a taxpayer paying my share of taxes. I just want to know that it's being used smartly and properly and not being frittered away or going for solving old bad problems. We have got to fund our pension. That actuarially required contribution every year must happen. That's like a tithe that comes first. But tax reform, I think, is going to go a long way to answering your question about how we can get some more revenue. But we can't do it the way we saw it done last time with the sewer bill. That process was flawed is an understatement. We have to be holistic about it. And we've got blue ribbon task force studies on the shelf with dust that there's a lot of good solutions there, but there hasn't been the political will to want to implement them. And I think that's one of the things that we need is legislators, I would hope, would forget about trying to get reelected and destroying the opposition, and instead do what's right for Kentucky.
Yeah. Well, let me tell you about we talked about the tax reform, but also generating ideas for new streams of revenue. There's some ideas out there, and I want to ask if you would you support the legalization of marijuana to be regulated and taxed?
I am for the medical use of marijuana.
Okay.
The CBD oil and the pills that don't have the
THC?
the effect where you get high.
Yeah.
That's not what we're after here.
Okay.
We're after the medical benefits that have been proven to be helpful, that people are asking for, that veterans are asking for, and they deserve
Okay.
the best that we can give them. So I'm okay with the medical aspect of it.
Okay. Right now, a legislative panel is looking at the possibility of expanding sports wagering for revenue. Is that something you would support?
You know, I want to see how that plays out.
Okay.
We know it has become legal. We know that other states are doing it. I understand the bad side effects of it, and I think that we have to look at the cost-benefit analysis. Is it going to cost us more than we're actually getting? I don't know.
Yeah.
But I think to have a knee-jerk reaction is part of the reason why we're in a lot of the problems that we're in.
Yeah.
And that it might be okay if we think it through and think about the consequences and plan ahead. You know, that's what most folks do when they're deciding to do something. They're like, well, how is this going to affect me?
Mm-hmm.
How is this going to affect our bank account? How is this going to affect our relationship? How is this going to affect our future?
Yeah.
You know, how is this going to affect our kids? You know, and so we should be asking ourselves those kind of questions and see if the benefits outweigh the costs or not. I'm completely open-minded and willing to look and see what's possible.
Okay. Something that is an issue here in our district is that our public schools get revenue from property taxes. And the Frankfort Independent School System, they lose out every year on this because there's a lack of taxes coming in collected from state government buildings and properties. Is there anything that can be done at the state level to address this?
It's a great question. Derek might know.
Yeah.
He probably does know a good way. To me, it's all about us being better functioning at the state level, doing the tax reform so that we're not putting so much of a burden back on cities and counties. We keep pushing responsibilities down farther and farther because of the lack of planning and cooperation and working together and foresight and ability to serve. It seems like there's a whole lot of interest in destroying the opposition and getting reelected versus doing what's right for Kentucky, which affects, you know, things roll downhill. All right. And so the cities and the counties and the schools are suffering as a result. But I understand the need to be able to keep up from a revenue perspective at the local level. I like to put things into McDonald's terms because I can understand them better. And if you think about the McDonald's menu board, you know, the hamburgers and cheeseburgers and Big Macs, what you pay for those, think of that as like a tax. You know, you're paying a tax to get your food at McDonald's. That's what it costs. And the reason it costs what it costs is because you have to factor in what it takes to get it to the customer. And so over the years, all of my costs go up. We try to keep them under control. We work with our vendors and our suppliers, and we do things to be efficient. But inevitably, labor cost goes up, insurance cost goes up, operating supplies goes up, uniforms go up. You know, all of our stuff, equipment cost, believe me, goes way up. Okay? And we try to hold our menu board constant. We try to keep the taxes on that menu board low. But the cost of everything that it takes to bring that product to market keep going up. State government's the same way. We have a product that we give to our customers, public safety, public education, public transportation, all the myriad of things that we do. And there's a whole lot of costs that go into that. Well, our menu board is our tax system. And a lot of that hasn't been touched in a long time. And I think we need to look at how can we balance things without unduly hurting or becoming regressive in the way we do it.
Okay. A Kentucky teacher right now is on the cover of a Time magazine
sad.
story. And it's about underpaid educators. The story focuses on recent teacher uprisings across the country, and including right here in Kentucky. Do you think teachers are underpaid?
Way
And how will you address this
underpaid.
in the legislature?
Let's get real serious real quick.
Okay.
Our teachers are educating our future. Our schools are our economy of tomorrow. And we are short-changing every aspect of that. And I consider teachers heroes for what they do day in and day out.
Do you agree with that? Well, back in the spring, the teachers forced school closures and a statewide sick out, and they came to protest to the legislature. Do you agree with that action, and do you understand why they were taking that stand? And if you were in the legislature, what would you do to try to help them?
Yes, ma'am. I not only agreed with what they were doing, I joined in with what they were doing. We have not seen the marches on Frankfurt like we've seen in this last year that I participated in because I believed in that cause since Martin Luther King days. It's a symptom of the dysfunction and the disconnect of our elected leaders that are enacting laws that are affecting such an important group as teachers. And it's not just teachers. It's hazardous, non-hazardous. You know, it's all of the state and county and city workers, emergency responders. We are losing emergency responders. Imagine if your child or your mom got into a wreck and there wasn't an emergency responder to get there.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's no good.
It's not.
Yeah.
Okay. And that could happen because we're not investing in the public good. And I'm so concerned that there's too much money going for private gain that's wrong because government is there to serve the people. And I'm not one of these guys that think that government is the enemy. I'm not saying it's the solution to all the problems and you should just let government run. I'm not saying that at all. But I also don't think that government should be so small that you can put it in the bathtub and drown it. It has a purpose. And we're not fulfilling that purpose properly. And the chickens are coming home to roost. And we had better get serious about taking care of these issues that are affecting the public good and the public safety of Kentucky. And the Republicans have some good ideas and the Democrats have some good ideas. They just need to be able to listen to each other and put them together and make it happen. Mm-hmm.
What do you think is a good Republican idea?
That's a good question. I know they're out there.
I put you on the spot.
You did. I know they're out there.
Yeah.
I think the whole notion of getting people that are able to work.
Yeah.
To work.
Yeah.
If you're capable of, doing an honest day's work for an honest day's pay, then I think you need to do that.
Yeah.
I think that's kind of a basic Republican idea that I think has merit.
Sure.
I think they took it a little too far, okay? And I think that they kind of ensnared some folks that really do need some help and got hurt that need to be taken care of. We have to have a heart in those decisions. Yeah. And there's other ones out there. I've been focusing on going door to door
Sure.
and trying to talk to voters and asking them for their vote. That was a great question.
Sure.
I'm sure that they're out there, and I'm open-minded to listening to them.
Well, that's what counts.
Yeah.
An issue of our local business and industry here is that when they find skilled workers that are qualified to work in jobs, they often can't pass a drug test. Mm-hmm. What can the legislature do to help us address this issue?
This is a huge issue. We don't have a jobs problem. We got plenty of jobs. We have an employee problem. We need more people, more employees. And I think the legislature can do a lot of things to make it more welcoming for people to come to Kentucky and take jobs that local folks either don't want or can't get. Are you going to ask the opioid question, or is this the way?
This is it.
Okay, this is it.
Yeah.
Okay.
If they can't pass a drug test, what can we do to help with what has obviously become an opioid epidemic here in our state?
This is another thing that I think we need to get real serious about real quick. This is a real life tragedy, train wreck that is unfolding. And just very quickly on something that's as complicated and heartbreaking and heart-wrenching and screwed up as this whole opioid epidemic is. First of all, these people that have this addiction, it's a disease, it's a problem, they need help. They have to admit they have a problem. They have to come to believe that a power greater than themselves can help them. Okay?
Yeah.
And until they hit that point where they realize they have wrecked their life, they've wrecked the life of everyone around them, they've hurt everybody in their life, including themselves, we have to help them rebuild their lives, rebuild their self-esteem, rebuild their self-respect and confidence and belief in themselves and ability to get a good job and have hope for a future that they have just totally screwed up.
Yeah.
Okay? These 30-day programs, they might help you dry out, but they are not enough. Our insurance has to be changed to allow folks to get the help for as long as they need it, whether it's 90 days or 180 days. 30 days has proven unacceptable in solving this problem. Just throwing people in jail and then having them come back out and go right back into the environment that they were in isn't working. We have got to change the environment. When they come out of treatment, when they come out of jail, they have to be able to be in an environment that's supportive, that is helping them on that road to recovery, and they're not back in the neighborhood. They're not back standing around on the corner, but they're at work. They're doing a productive job that they can feel good about, they can take pride in, they can start rebuilding their life and their relationships and making amends to people that they have hurt deeply. And so there's so much to do in what I just said right there that we've got to get serious about supporting. Just throwing these people away is wrong, and people's lives are being touched daily by this epidemic. And so we need longer rehab. We need more rehab. We need less people in prison and more people in rehab for longer times. They need to be able to have a place to go when they get out. They need to be able to go to work and feel good about themselves and then go back to a supportive environment. And then we want to get them to a point where they can share their experiences with others and show others that it's possible. You can change. If they did it, you can do it.
Okay. Thank you. I appreciate that. We have to close up now. So
I was wondering what all that was.
So
Okay.
I'm gonna let you look directly into that camera and tell our viewers why you are the best candidate in this race and why they should vote for you on November 6th.
Thank you, Kathy.
Sure.
Thank you, Frankfurt, and everybody viewing. I'm so grateful for this opportunity to be able to serve, to give back, to help, to work with others. That's what I've done in my career. I've worked with folks from the Federal Reserve to small nonprofits, to Fortune 100 CEOs, to community folks just trying to make their neighborhoods a nicer place, to managers running great restaurants. And the thing that we all had in common was we wanted to work together to solve the issues, the problems, the concerns, and accomplish the mission and objectives of whatever it was we were working on. And I believe that experience that I've had over the last 30 years of working with diverse groups of people to solve problems has prepared me well for a service-minded approach to the legislature. And I think that's why you elect people, is to serve. Folks tell me they're sick and tired of the political gamesmanship and warfare and bullying and ego battles that are going on in Frankfort, and they just want their elected officials to be honest and to work hard solving the problems of Kentucky. I had a former manager write on a Facebook post that he did. I didn't even know he was doing it when he shared one of my videos. And he said that he worked for this guy for 20 years. He really took care of his people and he fought hard for what was right. He'd make a great state representative. That came right from a manager that I worked with for over 20 years. And I want to take that same care for people and fight for what's right to Frankfort. And with your vote on November 6th, I would be able to be honored to get started. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Is there somewhere where if people want to find out more information about you, where they can go?
Yes, thank you. It's Joe Graviss for State Rep, JoeGraviss, 2 S's. Joe Graviss for StateRep.com.
Okay.
And then the Facebook is Joe Graviss for Kentucky.
Okay, excellent. Well, thank you so much for coming by. I know our viewers appreciate hearing from you. Folks, it's Joe Graviss, and he's a Democratic candidate for state representative of the 56th District. I want to remind viewers that on November 6th to get out and vote. We need you to vote. And then when you're done voting, go home, tune into Channel 10, check out our live election coverage direct from the county clerk's office. So it's election season. It's time to get informed and then get out and voice your choice. We appreciate you tuning in, and we'll see you next time on Meet the Candidates.